Whit Theobald, safety professional.
Here talking about safety year in review, if you will, as we wind down 2019. Boy, we're winding down the decade as well, and we're on to the next. So as we wound down, if you will, 2019, talk to me about the evolution in the past year of safety in the oil and gas industry.
Sure, I'll speak directly to something that affected me and my profession this past year is the DOT's new ELD update. They've updated their man hours for their drive hours for over the road, and that's going to affect long-term drivers more than our short-haul drivers that are going out picking up loads of oil and bringing them back to the pipeline stations or the refineries. But there's also the bigger part of the update is the electronic logging devices. That's something the drivers have been used to, but the companies were updating those. They were certifying those logs at the end of the day. Now the industry has said, you know what? Really not the industry, but the regulators have said, you know what? Back when the drivers were doing their own paper logs, they were a little bit more honest. So they were better at it from the get-go. So they've updated the softwares, and now the drivers are certifying their logs as of December 16th. It's been pretty hectic. We've seen a lot of bugs in the software even before the date kicked off, and companies will continue to see those going forward depending on their softwares. But so far, so good. It's been easy for the guys to pick up, and looking forward to what else that brings and what else 2020 will bring.
What is 2020 going to bring in terms of safety regulations? It seems like, we're getting more educated as we go, and the safety industry has really picked up.
Yeah, that's a good question and a good thought, Jason. I'm glad you asked it because something I read a few months back was OSHA is going to be focusing more on the proactive side of safety, something that the oil and gas industry really set the bar on and sort of became the gold standard over the years, really decades, is proactive safety, is figuring out these leading indicators that can tip us off to what may happen, what could happen down the line. So it looks like the Trump OSHA has gotten on board with that. I know they kind of got off to a rocky start with some setbacks, rubbed some people the wrong way. Some misinformation came out, all in my opinion there. But it's when a safety professional sees a regulator talking about going forward and focusing on leading indicators, that's a new frontier as far as regulations concerned. So good to see that.
What spectrum of safety do you encompass? Do you mentioned trucking, and so obviously think of on the road and etc. But do you get into other areas of safety, whether it be noise or air quality or certain types of vibrational limits, if you will? What type of safety do you oversee?
Yeah, you hit the nail on the head on a few of those there. I've got plenty of experience with hearing conservation programs. We just went through our second one for this group that I'm coming from. I've done plenty of them in the past. So we go out, we monitor noise. You can bring in an industrial hygienist to come out, put some noise dosimeters on your employees, get an 8-hour average, a 10-hour average. And if you meet the OSHA permissible exposure limit, hey, you got to have a hearing protection, or you got to have a hearing conservation program and wear the protection with the correct noise reduction rating on there. If you're at the action level, then you have to have a hearing protection program and start doing annual audiograms to test against their baselines. You mentioned vibrations. I thought that was a pretty good way to put that. It makes me think ergonomics. I came from my previous employer. We were pretty heavy with ergonomics, so been able to take that and apply these different postures and positions to what folks are exposed to in the oil and gas industry at different levels, and see what that does to soft tissue comfort levels. As far as air monitoring, it's good. I haven't been exposed to any of that since I was in college, but I have been on plenty of jobs where we do have to have H2S monitors, 4-gas monitors to make sure that we're not going to be exposed to any harmful gases. And if we are, those monitors alert us to get out of the area, and all the employees know how to treat that equipment and how to respond to when that goes off.
We're on record here at the Crude Life saying that 2020 will be the most important year in the history of oil and gas. What are your thoughts on that? We were saying primarily because of the environment and the rise of that, as well as, there's some economic questions coming into next year that, with layoffs already happening, et cetera, that there's going to be some changes come next summer, the big crew shift, if you will, the retirees. So there's just a lot going on in energy. So, I mean, you can disagree or take your pick and pontificate, because no right or wrong answer on this. This is just pure speculation, but it sure seems like 2020 is going to be a heck of a year for energy.
Yeah, the shale boom, we're at the tail end of it, seems some people say. We're in the middle of, we're approaching the end of the election cycle. So the Democrats are wanting to go pretty heavy with their regulation and bans, which just kind of blows my mind a little bit to hear. It was neat to see Harold Hamm invite Elizabeth Warren over to sit down and hash out some of that, see what she could learn. But it does seem like a pretty big year. You brought up folks retiring. I know there's been some layoffs in that, or some packages that go out. Say, here's an early retirement package. Companies are trying to get creative in how to approach this. So should be interesting to see.
Kind of wrapping up here, what do you see for next year? What are you going to focus on personally with yourself inside the oil and gas industry?
It's probably time for me to sit down and take one of those tests. I'm eligible for the certified safety professional exam. That makes you obviously a certified safety professional by the board certified safety professionals. There's some other great ones out there that have kind of sparked my interest. I think it's through Louisiana State University construction program developed COSS and COSM. So you've got certified occupational safety specialist and certified occupational safety manager. I'd like to expand my knowledge and continue my education a little bit, and test some of these exams out.